Okay, so welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. As I mentioned before, we are recording this session for future viewing, so I'll be sending that out probably within the next few days or so. It'll be posted to our website, but thank you for your interest in Temple's College of Engineering and for the graduate programs in engineering management. So my name is Colleen Bailey. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management for the College of Engineering, and also joining us any minute now should be Dr. Tom Edwards, who's the Chair of the Department of Engineering, Technology, and Management. So just a little quick history about Temple University. Temple is part of the Commonwealth System of Higher Education in the state of Pennsylvania. It's one of 4 universities in the Commonwealth system. So it's Temple University, Lincoln University, the University of Pittsburgh, and Penn State University. And as part of Temple's mission, key to Temple's mission is offering quality education at an affordable cost. And I'm a product of a Temple education myself. I actually got my master's degree at Temple University, not in engineering, in education. And I can tell you that were it not for a place like Temple, I would not have been able to get my master's, and I would not be where I am here today professionally. So I'm very grateful for the opportunities that Temple has given me. And across Temple, there are 17 colleges and schools. And what that means for you as a graduate student is the opportunity for mentoring and collaboration across a variety of disciplines. So we have students that collaborate with, especially in the engineering management program, a lot of the courses that you'll take will be part of the Fox School of Business. So there's a ton of collaboration there. We also have faculty that collaborate with the College of Science and Technology, the College of Medicine, the dental school. So it's a highly collaborative environment. And Temple has over 300 degree programs that span undergraduate, graduate, and professional studies. I see Dr. Edwards just joined us. Dr. Edwards, welcome.
Thank you. I finally got everything straight here.
Glad that worked out. So the College of Engineering, we were founded in 1969, so we're just celebrating our 50th year at Temple University, which is very exciting. The total enrollment of the college is about 1,700 students, the majority of whom are undergraduate students, and we have a nice healthy graduate student population, just shy of 200, and total faculty population of around 70. And at the College of Engineering, you really get the best of both worlds, I think. So we're a small college within a larger R1 research university in an urban setting, which is unique because, for example, by comparison to, let's say, the School of Business or the College of Public Health, the College of Engineering is considered small, and you can see we have a very small, tight-knit graduate population. So what that means for you is that when you work with our faculty, there's a very strong emphasis on teaching, mentoring, and student leadership. So you can imagine as a graduate student, that's going to offer you a wide variety of possibilities. Oops, skip ahead real quick. So there are 5 departments at the College of Engineering. So we have your traditional engineering disciplines like bioengineering, civil and environmental, electrical and computer and mechanical, but engineering, technology, and management is our newest department. And again, it houses the certificate programs and the master's program in engineering. So these are all of our certificate and degree programs. So the Master's in Engineering Management, again, is one of our master's degree programs, but we also have the certificate program, and you can see some of our other degree programs listed here as well. So we have your traditional master's and PhD degrees, as well as the Master's in Engineering Management. In addition to the Engineering Management certificate, we also have a certificate in Computer and System Security and a certificate in Stormwater Management. The great thing about the certificate programs is they're a nice way to kind of segue into graduate studies. So if you're not quite sure whether you want to fully do a degree program, a certificate program is a really great entry point for that. So the certificate in engineering management is three courses for a total of 9 credits, all of which can basically seamlessly be transitioned into the MS program. So we do have quite a few students each year that start as a certificate student, and then as they near completion of that, they realize that a master's degree is really going to position them for their next career step and to advance themselves professionally. So they end up doing the master's degree in engineering management. So our master's programs, including the master's in engineering management, are 30 semester hours total, with both full-time and part-time options available. And all of the courses tend to be offered in the late afternoon, evening hours to accommodate working professionals. So for those of you who are working full-time and want to do part-time graduate study, that is absolutely an option for you, but as is full-time study as well. On a full-time basis, the program takes 2 years to complete, and on a part-time basis, it really varies student by student, but I would say anywhere between 3 to 4 years if you're able to consistently take a course every semester or so. The programs are highly specialized, so there's usually 2 to 4 core courses followed by elective and specialization classes. And then within our other master's degree programs, you have 3 different program options. So there's a coursework only option where you take 30 credits of coursework, a project option where you complete your coursework, and then 3 credits of a research project with a faculty member, and then a thesis option, which is ideal for students who are interested in PhD study. This carries with it a traditional master's thesis. With the engineering management program, students within this program complete a capstone project, which Dr. Edwards will talk about a little bit. So to apply to the master's or certificate program, you can access the online application at apply.temple.edu/engineering. And the application fee will be waived for you because you attended the event tonight. And after the event, probably tomorrow or Monday, I will send you instructions on how to access that fee waiver. In addition to the completed application, you'll want to submit official transcripts from all colleges and universities that you've attended. Now, we highly encourage submitting unofficial transcripts for the purposes of application review, or you can submit electronic official transcripts, but due to issues surrounding COVID and the delay with mail and such, we highly recommend submitting those electronically, either unofficially or officially if you're able to. Now for this year, you can see the GRE code for Temple is 2906. However, we are making the GREs optional for applying to the MS in Engineering Management. There is a possibility that the admissions committee might request GRE scores from applicants on a case-by-case basis. If, for example, they find something might be missing from the application that they're not able to make a decision based on academics, career, and so on. But at this time, we are being flexible with that. So they are optional for submission this year if you have not taken the GREs. For those of you who are international students, we do require official results from the TOEFL, as well as 3 letters of recommendation, and those should ideally come from academic or professional sources, such as an immediate supervisor or a professional colleague or former or current faculty member. And when you complete the application, you'll be sent instructions on how to submit those letters of recommendation through the online application portal. In addition, we also require a statement of goals or personal statement, as well as your most current resume or CV. And again, you'll receive instructions on how to submit those once you complete the application. So these are the application deadlines. We are still accepting applications for the spring semester, which will begin in January. So we'll accept applications more or less up until about December 1st. If you're interested in applying for spring admission, and if you're interested in fall admission for starting next August of 2021, you'll want to apply by June 1st of the year you want to enroll. And then once we receive completed applications, you can expect to get a decision on your application no more than about 2 or 3 weeks later. Now, tuition for the 2020-2021 academic year, students are billed per credit hour. So for students who are Pennsylvania residents, it's $1,135 per credit hour with an approximate cost of about $3,400 per class. And for non-Pennsylvania residents, it's about $1,500 per credit hour, with the approximate cost being around $4,470 for 3 credit hours. For MS students, we have a limited amount of merit-based scholarships available for students with really excellent GPAs and an excellent background. There's also need-based federal aid available for US citizens and permanent residents. And some students are fortunate enough to be able to take advantage of tuition assistance from your employer if they provide any type of tuition remission or tuition funding, which is a great thing to take advantage of. So in terms of, why consider going to graduate school, like I mentioned before, being in a place like Temple that's very large with, access to all these faculty across a wide variety of disciplines, you'll give yourself many opportunities for career growth and leadership, not just being around the faculty members that you'll have in the classroom, but also your fellow classmates. That's a whole new professional network that you'll get right there. And again, the leadership opportunities that become available to you once you have a master's degree, you'll often be able to elevate to that next level at your company or whatever profession that you're in. And then obviously also another great reason to pursue continuing study is the increased earnings potential that you have. This is the most recent data from the National Association of Colleges and Employers for engineering degrees. So you can see there's a pretty significant jump from a bachelor's prepared graduate in engineering to a master's prepared graduate, about $15,000. So these are obviously the mean salaries. It'll vary, by location and by company, but you can see you'll get a really great return on your investment if you choose to go to graduate school in engineering. And again, as I mentioned, in the previous slide, the opportunities for leadership. And this is an interesting article, and Dr. Edwards will, go into a little bit more detail about this in his slides, but this came out about 2 years ago that show now that more top performing CEOs have engineering degrees as opposed to MBAs. So there's this kind of unique spark of leadership that happens within engineering, because the way I describe people is, the simplest way to describe what an engineer does is that engineers know how to make things work. And whether that's, actual devices to running companies, you'll have skills to do that, not only from your undergraduate background in engineering and whatever technical fields you may have studied, to the degree that you'll potentially, hopefully, get with us in engineering management. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Edwards, who's going to talk a little bit more detail about the engineering management program.
Thank you, Colleen, and welcome everyone. That was a great intro, Colleen. Thank you. It buzzed right into my my first point, which is that not only, as Colleen said, is there more engineering leaders than MBAs, but actually it's more interesting than that, because this graphic indicates that engineering undergraduate degrees represent less than 5% of undergraduate degrees awarded in the US. Yet folks with undergraduate degrees in engineering represent a full third, 33% of the CEOs of the S&P 500. So there's this spark of leadership, as Colleen was speaking to, but there's a big leverage to it as well. Because you think about this, 4% of the college educated population turns into 33% of the top leadership. No one really understands why. This is kind of a recently recognized phenomenon. The dean of the Harvard Business School, who's a chemical engineer by training, speculates that this is because, and as Colleen was saying, that things have to work, right? It's not you can't like make people believe that things work in their head or win the news cycle or, convince a couple of people that it works. It has to work. That bridge cannot fall down. And not only can the bridge not fall down, but if you want to get an opportunity to build the bridge, you got to be the low bidder on the project. So we know that things have to work. They have to be cost effective. And the other aspect is, if something does go wrong, it's usually painfully obvious after a failure investigation who was at fault. So we've learned and you guys got some experience, so this is not news to you, but we learned a very strict sense of accountability very early in our careers. And the dean of the Harvard Business School, his speculation is that we take this from when we transition from the engineering contributor to leadership positions, we take this perspective with us. So that being said, this program, this engineering management program at Temple, is about launching the transition from engineer to leader. Now, I'm a very big proponent of combining the best existing theory and also practical application. There's an entire social science built around figuring out what works and what doesn't work in management and leadership. And that's my doctorate. My doctorate is in management. So I'm got really, really versed in that. And that's great, except theory doesn't explain everything, because some things just can't be researched. And even the theory that does explain things, sometimes it's not translated well enough for practical application, for practitioners of management to use it. So our program has to be the best existing combination of theory and practice. I call it, what I want you guys to do through your time here at Temple is build a theoretically valid system of practical action. So to accomplish that, we bring faculty from both spheres, right? Some highly respected scholars in their field, research scholars, as well as accomplished professionals. We'll talk about those folks in a few more minutes. And that's really the heart of the program. It's a collaborative degree with the Fox School of Business. You're required to take 2 courses from the Strategic and General Management, SGM, program at the Fox School of Business. And there's a lot of electives in the program, and you're certainly welcome to take more of the Fox courses in these electives. You can be here on campus, you can be online, hybrid. There's lots of options available. As Colleen was saying, it's both a master's degree and a certificate program, and the certificate program can roll right into the master's program. Oh, I'm sorry, Colleen, you have to move the slides, don't you? I'm sitting here hitting the button, wondering why it's not
Yeah,
working.
so
Okay,
just give the next slide when you're
got
ready to
it,
go.
got it. Okay, thank you, thank you. So you can see this kind of a graphic that explains what we try to accomplish in the program. And at the very bottom, you see the line of people, and the one fellow stepping out and saying, hey, I want to be the leader. And this indicates that leadership is the fundamental of trying to step into this, understanding the nuts and bolts of leadership. And we do this with two courses. We do this with the fundamentals of leadership. It's the first course you'll take in the program. I teach that course. I teach every section of that course because I want to get to know you guys. I want to get to know your aspirations. That helps me make recommendations and guide you through the rest of the program. And it's the fundament. To me, it's the most fun course I teach, and it's critical because if you can't lead people, if you can't get people aligned towards your vision, towards your goal, you're never going to be as successful as you could be. So to me, it's a critical first step. The second course is an executive leadership program, executive leadership course, and this is where we start getting this combination of scholars and practitioners. The guy that teaches this course was the CEO of a New York Stock Exchange listed company for 10 years. And so that course is about what do you have to do? What do you have to add to your leadership toolkit when you step up and you're responsible for profit and loss? So when you're a profit and loss leader, which means you can sink the company, there's a different set of skills than being the engineering team leader or the engineering management team leader. I ought to say something about myself. I guess I'm a combination of both, practitioner and scholar. As I said before, my doctorate's in management. I got that quite recently. I had a decades-long career in industry, both aerospace and manufacturing. Culminated in general manager of a division, profit and loss responsibility for a division for 10 years, and then leading the innovation efforts at a corporation. So that's the fundamentals. So you get the fundamentals of leadership from those two things, and then the graphic right above that, the light bulb and the efficiency meter, indicate that there's two wars you have to win. You have to win the war for efficiency, and you have to win the war for innovation. And in the war for innovation, we have a course in new product development. The course in new product development is not how you develop any single one product. It's about how you design an organization that's capable of a pipeline of innovations. So it's a little bit different than just product development. That's taught by one of two people, both PhDs in engineering. I guess one has a PhD in chemistry and an MBA, and she was a product development executive at DuPont. The other fella is still leading product development efforts in a U.S. government facility. His doctorate is in engineering. So that's the war for innovation. The war for efficiency, the tool for using is Six Sigma. Six Sigma and lean techniques. The guy that teaches that is faculty from the Fox School. He's a world-renowned expert in Six Sigma methodology. He travels the world teaching seminars and courses in this, and he teaches our course for our program. If you go over to the right-hand side of the screen, or it's my right, hopefully it's your right, there's the entrepreneurship, whether you're starting your own company or building an innovative program or product inside an existing organization. And this is where the minimum of two courses, 6 credits from the Fox School of Entrepreneurship, come into play. Above that is the intersection of marketing and technology. To me, this is critical. And we are very fortunate in this program, and that we have a highly respected scholar from the Fox School. He's a marketing researcher, but he has spent his time, his career, not just his time, his career, researching what marketing means to technology intensive industries that sell business to business, which most engineers get involved with. And most marketing scholars do not study that aspect of it. Most marketing people study consumer goods, cars and toothpaste and mutual funds. because there's lots of them. So there's lots of statistics. So it's easy to research. And a lot of people care about it. It's important, but not to us. Most of what we as engineers will be involved in are companies where the value proposition to our customer is based on technology, and very often our customer is making a technological evaluation of our product. So it's a different animal than consumer goods marketing, and we're very fortunate to have Dr. DiBenedetto teach this course for us, since I'll tell you, I worked in another program for 20 years, another engineering management program for 20 years part-time. And we looked for this guy. We looked for somebody like this for 10 years to run that type of marketing course that would be meaningful to engineers, and we couldn't find him. That's because I looked in the wrong place. I should have been on North Broad Street. I should have looked at Temple, and I would have found this fellow. But at any rate, so on the left-hand side, there's two things. One, you see the Gantt chart. Everything we do is based on project management. There's very, very few engineering intensive industries that are not driven by project management techniques. I mean, some of them, like aerospace and construction, everything is being driven by project management approach. Even if it's a manufacturing company, a build to stock rather than build to order, you're still using the project management techniques for new product development or capital projects. So it's still a critical skill. And above that is, you see the little calculator and the little spreadsheet is finance. Finance is the language that's spoken at the table where the big boys and girls sit. If you want to sit at that table, you need to understand finance. You don't need to be an accountant. You don't need to be a financial executive. You need to understand the basic concepts and be able to speak the language. And then the capstone, where we bring this all together. Now, the Capstone Project has been evolving, because what's been evolving to, Colleen had alluded to a capstone project. And we started the capstone course like half workshops and half a industry project to apply everything. And the feedback we got from successive graduating classes of students is that the workshops were much more valuable than the projects, because you get to do projects in other courses. So we've actually this semester refocused it strictly on the workshops. And these are workshops about, and this goes back to the, how do we make theory practical? How do we develop hands-on knowledge with this? And so this whole capstone course is a series of workshops aimed specifically at getting different perspectives on things, so that you can take the theoretical knowledge you learn throughout the program and make it applicable. So, I mean, I teach the capstone course as well, and I have outside experts working with my capstone students. And it's things like, one of the things you're going to learn is that when you're under pressure, which most of us are a lot of the times, often under pressure, deadline pressure, budget pressure, performance pressure, our team will perform better if they feel they're free to fail. It's kind of counterintuitive, but there's some pretty impressive research that shows that if you make a safe space for your team so they know they can try things, and if it doesn't work out, they're not going to be penalized or criticized. What happens is they try things faster, they abandon bad ideas faster, and they get to the good idea faster. So that's pretty well proven. But the question is, how do you really do that when you're under pressure? When your boss hasn't read that article in the Harvard Business Review, and your boss is beating you up, and you know that if you take that pressure and you let that flow down to your folks, you're going to interfere with their performance. So how do you deal with that knot in your stomach when your boss is putting pressure on you, and you know the pressure should stop with you and not put it on? And so these are the types of things that theory doesn't address, and that we need to get hands on. Or you're going to learn about transformational leadership, and it's one of the concepts of transformational leadership is to be inspirational. Great. How do you do that? How do you stand in front of a room and be inspirational? What's your body language look like? How do you design your remarks? How do you speak? These are some of these nuts and bolts that are not in management theory. They're not in engineering theory. So we bring in experts from improv acting. We bring in experts from vocal music. We bring in experts from meditation. We bring in experts who've actually bought companies. We're bringing in an expert. A new example of this is We're bringing in an expert from the liberal arts school, the communication school rather, here at Temple, who's an expert in rhetoric and the design of argumentation. You know, when you want to make your case based on the strengths of the arguments, how do you design that argument? And I can give you a little bit of it because I've had to learn some along the way, but I'm certainly not an expert. So we bring in these experts and we run a series of hands-on workshops so that you can start to take this theoretical knowledge you have and start making it hands-on and be ready to apply it in the workplace. So that's what the Capstone has evolved into at the behest of the students who have graduated. Next chart, Colleen. I think the next chart is Capstone. So I talked about that. Okay, we can go to the next chart. I stole my own thunder there. This is just a list of the courses. I'm not going to reiterate them because I just talked about all of them when we were talking about the graphic flow chart. So this is kind of for your edification, but I'm not going to go into it. Do I have another chart, or is that the end of it? Yep. Questions?
And that's we got. So thanks, Dr. Edwards. So at this time, we can open it up to questions from you all. But in the meantime, I also want to point out our contact information. So any general related questions that you have, you can email to our graduate admissions email address, gradengr@Temple, myself, Colleen B. at Temple, and Dr. Edwards' email as well. So if you all have any questions, there's a Q&A button that you should see over the Zoom controls, depending upon where your Zoom controls are. So you'll just click on that, and any questions that you have, please type in there, and we'll do our best to address them. And if we have recorded the session, we'll be sending this out and posting it on our website once it's available. Dr. Edwards, while they're getting their questions ready, do you have examples of sort of what some of the alumni from the program have gone on to do?
Sure. So let's see. So we've got we have a fella who became very interested in data analytics, and he took some electives at the Fox School when he was here, and he has gone on to a consulting career at Ernst & Young, very big name consultant, based on the strength of his engineering management degree and the analytics. So that's one example. See, we have one of the fellows. He was pretty deep into his career, and he had an idea that he had germinated through the Fox courses that he took. And he has retired from his day job, and he's starting his own company to commercialize this invention he came up with. We have a guy who's a program manager at a Phillips refinery in Amarillo, Texas. Another student, a peer of his, a woman who is now working in marketing at a large electronics firm, and it's pricing, how to do pricing. So let's say we have people that have evolved into their organizations, higher levels of management. We have one fella, we have a number of people at one specific local government agency that have been promoted to the first level of management as they came through the program. So they have 30 engineers reporting to them now. We have another one of those was actually promoted 2 levels. So now he has managers reporting to him. And trying to think. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head, Colleen. I'm trying to think of somebody else.
Yeah, these are all great examples, so helpful for me as well.
Okay, you know all these folks. If I use their names, you would recognize them.
I'm sure I would.
Yes. See, one guy went back. He was from overseas. He went back and he went back to his family company, his family-owned company, to help improve that.
And not to interrupt you, Dr. Edwards, but it looks like we have our first question. This is a good question too. Is there a possibility to do a dual master's since there are many free electives?
You can't double count the credit for 2 masters. That's the problem. You got to have 30 credits for the Masters of Engineering Management, and you're really not allowed. This isn't my rule or Colleen's rule. This is at the university level. You can't use those credits towards another master's degree. Now, unless there's a formal program, and there's actually some of that going on, some discussions about that going on, and then you can double count, I think, 6 credits. And we got a guy in sales too. We got a guy who decided that that technical sales was what he really wanted to do. He left us and he was working at a consulting engineering firm, and that wasn't doing. He wasn't excited about that, and he has since transitioned to technical sales, which I think is a great career path for someone with both business skills and technical skills.
Can any other questions? Don't hesitate to ask. Can please put them in the Q&A. The Q&A section. And again, as Dr. Edwards mentioned, keep an eye out on our website because we are in the process of developing some new programs. One of which will be a dual degree program. Don't quote me on that, and don't put anything out there publicly. Nothing's been officially approved by the university. I don't want the academic police coming after me, but there are some new degree programs in the works for the College of Engineering and some dual degrees with another school at the university.
Well, I said it first, Colleen, so you can
That's
sick
true.
them after me.
But the engineering management degree is a really wonderful way to kind of segue into that next step for whatever you see that being for your professional life. Another good question, is there a different process for Temple alumni? There is not. However, as a Temple alum, you will not need to send your transcript to us. We will have access to that internally, so we'll take care of that. Don't bother making that request. As long as we have your TUID number, which will come up when you apply, we'll be able to take care of that for you. So no need to submit your Temple transcript if you're a Temple alum. And as I mentioned earlier in the session, again, we are still accepting applications for this spring. Due to the university has not made an official decision yet in terms of what the academic delivery plan will be for the spring semester for the university. But again, as Dr. Edwards mentioned, the engineering management program is highly flexible, so you would have the option to start the program online if you weren't yet comfortable coming back to campus, if that were the case, and then segueing to the on-campus format once we return to whatever normal times are these days.
So when I I've been here for about 5 years, and when I came here to build this program, all of the courses have been built, and I built a good portion of them, at least the first cut, and then I handed them off to experts in the field to mold them and change them. Some of them, like the finance and the Six Sigma, the experts were already on board. But we built this as a program that could be delivered either face-to-face or online. The face-to-face delivery is, I mean, the courses I teach, well, the Capstone's all very interactive, but the fundamentals course is a blended format, and that the lecture material is all pre-recorded. So you come to class, instead of coming to class for 2.5 hours, you come for 1.5. And you don't listen to me talk to a PowerPoint. You got to do that on your own before you come into class. And when you come into class, it's all about applying the material. My understanding is that yes, it is. It is classified as a STEM degree.
The question for those of you who may have not seen it come in is the engineering management degree classified as STEM for OPT? And the answer is yes.
So the why I brought all that up was that, with the uncertainty in the world today, the difference to this program between a fully online versus the face-to-face class is we just move the discussions to an online format because everything else is already set up. So it's really easy for me. I just go onto the Canvas, the learning management system, and I close a couple switches and open a couple of others, and the course just translates seamlessly from the face-to-face delivery to the online delivery. And we can do that either asynchronously with discussion boards, or we can do it live with synchronously with Zoom discussions, and we've been doing that since March. And it's I've become a fan of Zoom discussions. I think they're better than asynchronous discussions, and practically as good as face to face. So if things change, we start one way of delivery and we have to switch to something else. No pain, no strain. We just make the transition. And
Our next question looks like is, will the classes help with any certifications, for example, in Lean Six Sigma or PMP? Are they geared towards helping with certifications?
they're geared towards delivering the content that you would need to become certified. Now, when I say that, we do not certify people. We can't. We cannot deliver certifications in either Six Sigma or PMP. The material that you get in the Six Sigma course is probably better than what you would get through most industrial certifications, because at the green belt level, Lean Six Sigma at the green belt level does not require a project for certification. When you take our Six Sigma course, you will do a project. So you're doing more than you would have to do if you've got a commercial certification. So I would think you'd be prepared to enter a commercially available certification program. We can't give you a certification, and you can't transfer the credit. You still have to go take the industrial um, course, the industrially offered course in Six Sigma. Now the PMP is a little bit more complicated because PMP certification covers quite a bit of ground. The fellow that teaches our project management courses, I believe he is PMP certified. He's been doing project management at a major pharmaceutical company for 2 or 3 decades. And what you learn in his course is a good starting point for what you have to learn to get PMP certified, but you're going to have to do more for that. And again, we can't give you a certification, and you can't transfer credit from an academic program to these commercially available certification programs.
Okay, it doesn't look like there's any more questions that have come in. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share and stop the recording. But you all are welcome to stay on, and Dr. Edwards